Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this final briefing for the year 2020. Quite a challenging and interesting year. Hopefully 2021 would be better, with better prospects going forward. I'd like to brief you really on a few topics. First, on the science part of things, AstraZeneca. Of course, the news of the day has been the news that the MHRA, the UK regulatory agency, has approved the AstraZeneca vaccine now. And on what we call the standard dose, the same vaccine doses as used in the phase 3 trial conducted here in the US with the AstraZeneca vaccine, but given 3 months apart. This is based on, frankly, more of a conceptual observation than space vaccine doses, the better the immune response after the second dose. This is well known, but of course, it's a trade-off with the fact that people will spend, as approved, about 3 months after only one dose has been given, and exactly the efficacy of the is based on smaller number of cases and is about 50%. The vaccine efficacy is very good against severe disease. Vaccine efficacy in the elderly, which, as you know, is the most impacted population with this virus, is actually effectively unknown, because there were very few cases in the elderly population, because the trials at that time had not recruited too many elderly people. But that said, a very important step forward with the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine. As you know, that vaccine is in phase 3 trial here in the US. We have almost totally completed the recruitment of that trial. We have 29,700 subjects in the study out of the about 30,000 that are planned. And cases will start to accrue. We project, if everything goes well, that readouts and emergency use authorization may be granted somewhere early in the month of April, and by that time, several tens of millions of doses of this vaccine will have been manufactured at Emergent and will have been stockpiled, and therefore will be available for use if the data support its approval, as has just been the case with the MHRA. So an important progress this week, in fact, this day. The second important point is the Novavax vaccine. The Novavax vaccine has started phase 3 trials on the 27th. We already have 1,000 subjects recruited in the study. 10 sites that will be participating in the trial have already been activated and are recruiting. The trial is being conducted currently in the US and in Mexico, and may also include and potentially Brazil, if we are able to bring these countries into the trial fast enough. It's very important that we recruit subjects here in the US, but also outside of the US, because we project that there will be some challenges having subjects at risk, particularly the elderly, the healthcare workers, and people with comorbidities participating into the trial when there is the Moderna and the Pfizer, and potentially over time the Janssen's vaccines available for use and immunization in mass. The third point concerns, so that's a great progress with the Novavax, and as you know, Novavax is the first protein vaccine to progress. It's in fact the 5th out of 6 vaccines in our portfolio that's progressing into phase 3 trials, about 9 months after starting this endeavor, 8 months and a half. The next program is the J&J Janssen's vaccine. You know, we announced last week that the phase 3 trial recruitment has been completed, and we are very diligently working with the company and with the regulators. We feel more and more confident that readout of efficacy will take place during the month of January, and very likely that an EUA submission will take place during the month of January. So within the next 4 weeks, and hopefully an approval may be reached in the first half of the month of February. And we are also working hard with the company and the FDA to further accelerate vaccine doses availability during the month of February. I think it can be quite a game changer. We are hopeful that this vaccine, which is a one-shot vaccine, will have equivalent efficacy to those of Moderna and Pfizer. We'll comment on that once we have the data. I'd like to attract your attention on the confidence intervals that are around each one of the numbers of efficacy for Pfizer and Moderna, 95%, with a confidence interval between 89 and 100, meaning if we were to repeat these studies with the same vaccine, efficacy would come anywhere between 89% and 100%. The next point to raise your attention is on Moderna and Pfizer. We continue to have good supply into the system and output of vaccine doses. General Perna, my colleague and partner, will of course brief you more thoroughly on that. What I want to say is with the Moderna vaccine, we really would like to encourage more adolescents to participate in the clinical trial that's ongoing, trial between the age of 12 and the age of 18. We only have 22 subjects recruited in the study. We understand that it's a little bit of a challenge given the holiday season, but after the holidays, I think it's really important for more adolescents to participate in this clinical trial. This is a highly effective and very safe vaccine, and by participating in the trial, we will be able to accelerate the approval of this vaccine next to the Pfizer vaccine for use in this younger population. I think it's very important to do. We're also continuing to work with the company and with the FDA on potentially using a lower dose in two-dose immunization to increase the capacity faster. This is, of course, only relevant if it can be done on a very short-term basis. Continuing progress with the Sanofi vaccine, the other protein-based vaccine. We are now looking at starting the phase 2B program as per Sanofi's press release, hopefully by the middle of the month of February. On the therapeutic side of things, we have more data on usage of the monoclonal antibodies. We raised the challenge that not enough of the monoclonal antibody doses available in hospitals are actually being used. So there's good news and less good news. The good news is there is a progression week on week on the usage, going from 10% last week to 20% this week. The less good news, it's only 20%, and we really need to continue to work hard on the various reasons that are very, very pragmatic reasons why usage is more limited. It's very important that we progress there. I will stop there and pass on to General Perna, who will now brief you, and then we'll be happy to take your questions. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Slaoui. For everybody, happy holidays, and thanks for being with us again this week as we try to keep you updated with everything that we know that's going on. So this week, you know, we've provided jurisdictions with the final allocations of doses available. That means by tomorrow night, all the jurisdictions will be able to place orders for up to 20 million doses of vaccine, which has been collective over the last 2 weeks plus since the first EUA by Pfizer and then following EUA by Moderna. We are really doing well, in my opinion, in the distribution. Over 14 million doses of vaccine have been distributed to date, and every day we push more vaccine. I'll talk about that as we go forward. In fact, this week we started not only pushing first dose vaccine, but we started pushing second dose vaccine for the Pfizer vaccine as people who received the first dose around 4 January will start to be eligible for the second dose, and we wanted to ensure that the vaccine was available to all. You know, the cadence for our execution is really coming into good posture. We're allocating to the states on Tuesday. States are available to order off the allocations on Thursday. We're picking and packing supplies to ensure it can be delivered by the following week. Really remarkable effort by the collective group of professionals, the men and women who have been working tirelessly, from Pfizer, Moderna, McKesson, UPS, and FedEx, as they execute this every day. And they are the ones that are executing the movement of the vaccine. I'd be remiss if I did not highlight the great work by the state and local governments as they do the planning and they determine the allocation at the state levels and the final administration. I think has been an incredible task. So I just would like to take a minute as we close out this year to kind of think about where we've been over the last 7.5+ months since Dr. Slaoui and I were notified and presented at the Rose Garden in May. So what have we done? We've developed 2 safe and effective vaccines now for use, authorized for use to the American people. We've scaled up manufacturing capacity, in some cases building new brick and mortar from the ground up. We've issued 18 Defense Production Act ratings, which allows us to prioritize materials, supplies, and equipment essential to the U.S. government contracts. It puts them at the front of the line. Hired and trained new staff and embedded logisticians and supply chain experts in all the manufacturing facilities as we move forward. We developed and launched a new data system that connects hundreds of existing systems at the state and local level to allow us to have visibility so that we can see ourselves across the entire United States. We've executed extensive planning, starting with the CDC putting out their playbook in September, and then extensive coordinations with the state health officials every day, every week, and every month since. And it continues as we go forward. We dedicated regional planning teams that are constantly available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at the CDC in support of the state and local governments. We provided IT specialists to help all the jurisdictions to see themselves so that they understand exactly where everything is at a single point of time. They can plan and direct accordingly. We developed a program, the CDC really developed a magnificent program to, in collaboration with CVS and Walgreens, to go to all of our long-term health care facilities and administer a vaccine to really one of the 2 top priorities, the elderly living in these homes. Over 906 clinics conducted to date as we ramp up to 4,000 a week. So really remarkable tasks. We've inked a partnership with 19 pharmacy chains to ensure as we go from stage 1A to 1B that we can expand the capacity of distribution throughout the country, which gives everybody greater access to the vaccine in each state as directed by the governors and the state health officials. We funded distribution for vaccines alongside of ancillary kits to ensure that those things were there when they were needed. And we did this early on so that we had the right distribution mechanisms and the right ancillary kits to be distributed with the vaccine. And we provided dry ice to everybody that wants it on the first replenishment for all Pfizer vaccines. We cut through the red tape, right, to ensure all the vaccines provided to Americans will be free of charge. And finally, as I started out with, we've allocated and will be available for final ordering 20 million doses by this Thursday. Distributed more than 14 million doses of vaccine to over 10,800 locations. And we have administered over 2 million doses in the last 2 weeks. Really a remarkable feat. And everybody collectively should be very proud, right? The federal government, industry, academia, state and local governments. It has been a whole of America approach. As we work every day to make sure that the vaccine gets to where it needs to be, we are out checking. Yesterday I was able to go visit 2 hospitals in the local area, one in D.C. and one up in Maryland, and I just saw remarkably dedicated staffs who were engaged, who understood the vaccines under their care, who were involved in making sure that they were executing administration the right way to ensure that it's effectively used to the priorities of the governors in implementation. I was highly impressed. Remarkably dedicated people working every day as they go through this. They've done this over the last 2 weeks through holidays, trying to give everybody some time off after a long year of fighting the virus, as they're working through the administration of the vaccine to ensure that everybody gets it at a different time and not everybody at one time. And then they've worked through 3 major snowstorms in the last 2 weeks, and still really a remarkable job. So I just want to applaud everybody's efforts collectively over as we work through the vaccines for the last 7.5 months, vaccines and therapeutics. Our responsibility is to ensure that we are developing, manufacturing, and delivering safe and effective vaccines and therapeutics to the American people. And so I'm just thrilled to be a part of this, and I'm excited about all the collaboration and great work that everybody's done to date. Thank you.